You know what I'm talking about? That person, when you talk, they listen. They look in your soul. See, they don't see where you've been. They see where you can go. They don't see you as a problem. They see you as a possibility. And they step in and call you to greatness. So I was born and raised Catholic, and that ought to tell you I don't know my scriptures as well as some of my Protestant brothers and sisters, and that's okay. Okay, that's okay. But I do know where to go to get those scriptures. I just asked Google or Siri, and so I said, "What's the scriptural significance of a sheep?" And it came up as the most talked about animal in the Bible. 247 times they mention this. So being all full of myself for about 2 seconds, I was like, well, isn't that sweet? Second to the next comment that said it's the dumbest thing ever that Jesus created. Senior year in high school, I started making decisions that I would not want for certainly the young people at these tables. You wouldn't want it for your daughter. You wouldn't even want it for someone that you don't care for. See, sin took me farther than I ever expected to go. And it cost me way more than I ever expected to pay. And the more I did, the more I believed that I didn't belong. So anyway, I was in this pit, and I stayed there for a long time, because what happens when you go in a pit, you get really comfortable there. You start believing that this is all that life's about, and that it's too late to be anything. I love that I'm speaking today. Is today 10/10? Is that the date today? I'm big on numbers, and I know my Protestant brothers and sisters. John 10:10 says, the thief came to steal, kill, and destroy, right? See, people don't live to tell what I've been through. I have been in places and spaces that I am not proud of. But what's so amazing about Jesus is he just kept saying, this girl's testimony is going to be amazing. And I think every time I thought about God again, because there were a couple times where I was like, well, I'm interested in the Jesus thing, and then I went away. He was like, here we go. Okay, maybe not. Here we go. But every time he just kept going back out there and bringing me back in. Every time he put a comma, it was a new chance for me. I decided my life had become unmanageable. Not because I thought so, but because everyone I came in contact with said, don't you think your life is unmanageable? So I decided that I'd be better off dead. Called the suicide hotline and got put on hold. So I graduated treatment, and they said, okay, here's the deal. So I did graduate from 2 places, Scotty, a drug treatment center and a seminary. I'll give you a free book if you can say you did it. The fact that God has used every single thing that caused me to feel shame and guilt and unworthiness. The fact that I never believed that I belonged because of all the things that I had done wrong. Only God could bring about such, I always say he's such a show-off. Like, he doesn't do anything small. It has to be so big, so in the remote chance that I might try to take the credit, which, P.S., I did. A lot. I paid this man $50 to sit here and laugh at my jokes. See, I never want to take the credit for the fact that God has used everything that Satan tried to steal, kill, and destroy in my life. God has made it for something good. People say, aren't you ashamed or embarrassed? I go, nope. People in my church go, do you really think you're forgiven? I'm like, yep. I've been both. I've been a shepherd and I've been a sheep. See, sheep go the wrong way. They're unaware of dangers at hand. They live in a rut unless you take them elsewhere. I'm spiritual. I didn't have a spiritual bone in my body. I was a broken person that did everything based on your attention, your affirmation, and your acceptance. I was rooted in pride and prayerlessness. You're probably working with these people, for these people, might be waking up next to them. The reality is I'm not the only one who needs a shepherd. We all need a shepherd. And for those of us that Jesus gave the absolute gift and privilege and responsibility of leading people. See, I'll never be in charge of a lot of people. See, leaders can lead themselves first, Scotty. But when I started delighting in the Lord at age 37, like Psalm 37 states, when you delight in the Lord, he will give you your heart's desire. So we recall, we are the people. Jesus didn't just call you sheep. I'm not calling you sheep, Jesus did. He said you were the dumbest animal. He said you would become downcast, panic, and die. He said you, me, us, we, without a shepherd leading us to higher places and spaces, we probably won't choose the highest and best good. So they didn't only nibble themselves off the side of a mountain, but I read a story about where one hurled himself off and 1,500 followed. How are you leading? Who are you leading? And where are you leading them? See, when you're building trust, this is from the beginning of time, this is biblical. Lived trust. Without trust, you have zero in any relationship. Would you agree? Trust. Trust is this foundation that everything can stand on. And if you're helping your sheep identify with you, you're realizing that without a vision, they're going to perish. They're going to nibble themselves off the side of a mountain. And maybe bring 1,500 of your employees with them. Infusing every single position with importance. And then you got to be rotating the sheep. Rotate them to some new pasture. We get stuck in a rut. We tend to see things through our eyes instead of God's eyes. I know as leaders that you know that discipline is so necessary. It calls forth greatness. It holds people accountable. See, this long arm is for blocking what you're not supposed to have. And it's for steering you back into where you're supposed to go. As servant leaders, you get to. See, everything is a get to. I always say get to. Doesn't it feel better? I get to. I get to. Number 7, the heart of the shepherd. It's all about the heart. The heart is the hardest part. See, we can be about it, but we need to be about it. We can be about it. We can know what it means to be a servant leader right here. But unless it travels down to that place of flowing out of our heart, it's not nearly the same impact. It will never sustain your flock if it's not from the heart. See, someone will pay for how you lead. It's either you or your people. See, the welfare of your sheep depends solely on some of you. Their overall welfare. How many of you are parents? How many of you are married? Okay, did any of you have any idea what either of those things entailed? I'm still petitioning the church to rewrite the vows. It's like no one ever said what worse really meant. And just for the heck of it, I got to just show you. There's my family. They look so cute, don't they? We're the ones in church where I'm like, look ahead, you're so dead when we get home. At the sign of peace, I squeeze them really hard, and they're like, stop pinching me. It's like, we're in church. Look ahead. Father's watching. But seriously, can we just all admit that only Jesus could have taken me from where I was to the places and spaces that I get to be right now, just driving around, talking about Jesus in the church and in businesses. Can I get an amen for Jesus? Amen. Thank you so much.